Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crypto Hipsters podcast, where I interview founders and co founders, entrepreneurs and artists, executives and stay at home hipsters in crypto and blockchain around the world. And I have an amazing podcast for you today. Let's get to it.
And today I have a very special guest. He is the Chief Digital Evangelist at EvIRA Health. His name is Evan Kirstel. Welcome, Evan, to the show.
Thanks for having me. And I love your username, Crypto Hipster. That's pretty hip.
Thank you. Awesome. So to kick things off, please could you let us know about who you are and your background, and is it a logical background to what you do now?
Yes, so it's Evan Kirstel. I'm based here in the Boston area, so right up the road from you in Connecticut. And I've been in enterprise tech for, 30 years, which now I'm starting to feel old. But the last 6-7 years have been out as an independent social digital influencer of sorts in tech, working with tech brands to kind of evangelize and promote and educate around their solutions. I'm also in the crypto world with my own personal cryptocurrency built on the Rally blockchain. And as you mentioned, I'm super involved in the health tech and digital health landscape. So lots of varied interests, and delight to be chatting with you today.
Excellent. It's a pleasure and honor to talk to you. And I didn't have the Rally blockchain on my list of questions, but let me ask you about that first. Could you please tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure, be happy to. So we're all excited about cryptocurrency, but there's a lot of different approaches to getting value from crypto. And what Rally, or RALLIO, is doing is enabling creators like myself, but also artists and musicians and bloggers and others to basically create their own personal cryptocurrency. And through that, reward their audience, create games and incentives, and basically build an ecosystem around their community that's based on a store of value. So my coin is called B2B. And it's been really fun building and growing my audience through the use of cryptocurrency.
And the B2B, would that be an NFT, or how would that work?
It's an actual coin. It's a subchain on the Rally Ethereum blockchain. So it's a store of value. It's a coin that you can buy, sell, hold, like any other cryptocurrency. And the owner of that coin is yours truly. So it's a way for my audience to support me. It's a way for me to support my audience through rewards and incentives and special offers, let's say. And it's a way for third parties to invest. Maybe it's a bad word, but to kind of get behind their favorite creators. So it's a new concept from Rally. They're an Andreessen Horowitz-backed company, and I think you'll find new and exciting uses and applications of Ethereum blockchain in places like this and beyond. So it's an exciting time for crypto beyond just Bitcoin.
Awesome. So I'd like to start off with asking you about then what is EvIRA Health, and how do you help your clients move forward powerfully?
Thank you. So EvIRA Health is a social digital consultancy that my fiance Irma and I started about 4 years ago, with a view of taking our passion for social media engagement and digital marketing to clients in the healthcare world who we noticed were pretty behind when it comes to social media marketing, and content development. So we're working with brands ranging from 3M and Microsoft to lots of early stage tech startups really helping to blow up their digital and social media presence. And so it's been a blast traveling around the world before COVID, meeting and helping brands at various events, from CES to HIMSS to Mobile World Congress, and even now through the pandemic in a virtual way around events and event marketing. So yeah, it's a personal passion and now a professional one with us as well.
I have a follow-up there.
Please.
You said one word. You said fiance. Is there some news that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, semi-breaking news. Last week, I engaged to my girlfriend and business partner, Irma. You can look at my pinned tweet, and we're on cloud nine, literally. So we're going to get married next summer, and yeah, just blending our work and personal life now. So how fun is that?
That's awesome. Congratulations. I saw your tweet, so
Thank
that's
you.
why I asked you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, sticking with the health industry, what do you see? And you mentioned COVID. What do you see as the major challenges in the health industry now, and how can blockchain help to solve some of these issues?
Well, we've all experienced this pandemic, and we've seen a radical transformation of the way healthcare is being delivered through telehealth and telemedicine, and also the way our care is being consumed through advanced video, telemedicine platforms, through remote patient monitoring, with obviously new therapeutics, new amazing vaccines that we've now consumed. And healthcare is never going to be the same. So I think, as a society in this country and others, are on a mission to radically transform healthcare. And that's happening through new providers. It's happening through new business models. It's happening through, a restructure of our healthcare practices, best practices, if you will. And so there's just so much change happening there. And blockchain is a logical, let's say, platform on which some of that change can be introduced, in terms of how patient data is managed, secured, delivered, and exchanged across healthcare boundaries, across healthcare systems, potentially between doctors, hospitals, and patients. So there's a lot of early innovation happening on the blockchain in healthcare, and I think there's only more to come, as we all realize the current healthcare system we have, the current system of medical records, and sort of a 20th century system, has to be evolved and transformed. We just can't continue in the 21st century with clipboards and paper-based medical records. So there's a lot to unpack there, but it's fascinating to observe.
So what would you say some of these new business models might look like?
Well, it'll vary. It could mean for someone like myself, not going into the doctor's office again, and having the ability to receive more care at home through telehealth, telemedicine, new kinds of digital health and monitoring devices. It'll mean many of us will take control of our healthcare and our healthcare data in a way that we haven't, in the past, where we would just go visit our doctor and get our annual physical. Rather, in the future, we'll be more of the masters of our own domain in terms of our personal health, our personal data, taking ownership of our diseases, and through digital therapeutics and digital health platforms and wearable devices, not just take ownership on an individual level, but have our healthcare system help us, catch disease early in the process before waiting to need to go into the doctor's office or hospital. So that's what's most exciting is for me is that taking ownership of health and allowing technology that allows a really close relationship with my doctor, with my nurse, with my caregiver through technology. Like now, I'm basically on a chat app now with my doctor, and when I have a question, a concern, there's a new drug maybe that might be relevant. I have this one-on-one relationship, and it's not a matter of making an appointment for 8 weeks away. So that's kind of revolutionary.
And do you see, as far as making that digital footprint, do you see precision? What role do you see precision devices and their advancement having in that digital trust identity space?
Well, it could be a big one. I mean, if you look at the Apple Watch, for example, as a leader, paving the way in some areas, there will most likely be a non-invasive glucose monitor in your Apple Watch that could manage not only diabetes, but pre-diabetes or early symptoms of diabetes. I have an Oura ring that not just measures my steps and exercise and activity, but also my sleep patterns and my deep sleep and my REM sleep and my temperature. And so the whole idea is to catch symptoms and problems early. And when you catch things early, whether it's something like diabetes or cancer or other diseases, you have a real chance, an opportunity to live a full and healthy life. So I think that's what's most exciting for me around these emerging technologies.
That sounds good to me. So I want to talk about.
And yet, the downside is there's just a huge divide between the digital haves like you or I with the technology and the means and the income and the education to take advantage, and frankly, a lot of have-nots who aren't participating in a lot of these new innovations, whether it's involving personal technology or even telehealth, telemedicine kind of services, or even access to good healthcare, and access to a doctor for that one-on-one patient relationship. So there's a big gap that needs to be filled, and that's a lot more than just technology to do that, for sure.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. My next question was going to be about a user experience, but users are the haves and the have-nots. And what do the have-nots need to know? And not just in healthcare, but like, what do they need to know to get on to help improve them, their lives and know what they need to know?
Well, good broadband, solid broadband is key for education, learning, development, and access to all this information. And while most Americans have access to broadband, I wouldn't say it's super high quality, broadband, with the latest devices and apps that would allow them the kind of access that I have with my Comcast gigabit Ethernet here in the suburbs. So, there's some foundational aspects to the digital divide, but also it's education. I mean, it's education and intervention at early stages. I think there needs to be more community awareness building, more community action and involvement and organizing around education in these topics. And, making ourselves healthier is kind of an individual opportunity and responsibility. And that starts with education and engagement at the super local level, and so that's been missing to some degree.
I can see that. I agree. And that ties back to, I guess, to social media, where you're an expert influencer. And I'd say social media is both like an open, vast ocean, and also, at times seems like an undersea trench. Most effective, most don't know how to effectively navigate, it to build businesses, and I could be included in that. But you know how to do it. So how do you achieve business building for your clients, and what tips can you give people to navigate, the social media waters?
I think a lot of it is around great content. So whether you curate great content, simply share really interesting and exciting content to your audience, or create interesting content, whether it's written word, blogs or articles, whether it's spoken word, Clubhouse, or maybe podcasts, or video word, creating interesting, compelling video content. You need to create interesting and relevant content for your audience, for your potential clients, for your community that's going to resonate. And so everything on social revolves around that content, that point of view, that perspective, those insights. And then it's about scale. It's not enough to publish a blog once a month. It's not enough to put share an interesting article on LinkedIn once a week, or post on Instagram, every few weeks. You need to create and deploy content at scale to really get noticed by your audience. And so that's sort of what I educate and help my clients with.
And how would one who doesn't know the first thing about scaling, how would they go ahead and learn how to scale?
We have this beautiful thing called the Google machine. So you can go to Google, and you can YouTube, and you can type in, how do I scale my audience? How do I grow on social? How do I create a YouTube video? And literally the universe is at your fingertips. And there's free content, free education, free classes, articles, videos, guides. I mean, literally everything you need to know about marketing and social is at your fingertips. So I kind of get that question a lot, and I laugh, because there's 48 different tactics I deploy, but all of this stuff is in the public domain. So there's a lot of education people can do, including how do I start a podcast? How do I build it? How do I edit audio? How do I market a podcast, as you guys know how to do so well? And there's all that information in the public domain. So it's more a case of taking action, taking a first step, just doing it, versus asking how to do it.
Great. A lot of people ask me how I know so much about crypto, and I'm like, I put 35,000 hours in 4 years. So
right. No, it's so true. It's like you learn by doing, and honestly, trial and error, and successes and mistakes, and but there's no barrier anymore to us doing anything we want to do on the internet, including starting a business on Shopify to sell something there, or starting an Amazon store. It's all about just doing it now, versus how to get started, or how to be effective.
Got it. So sticking with the role of the influencer, the role of the influencer has been important in crypto. And as more institutions, enter the space, how do you see the role of the influencer changing, as the technology adoption landscape changes?
Well, influencer has a both a good and a bad connotation in my mind. There are people like myself who are, I think, influencers for good, because what we're doing is educating and curating and engaging and sharing, and we're selling our services too, or marketing a product, but we're doing it with the best of intent. And then there's the John McAfee's of the world, who are frankly seem to be just trying to get your money from your checking account. So I think there's a big divergence between influencers who have good intent versus the folks who are either scamming or just trying to part ways with your money. And I think that's becoming increasingly obvious between those two differences. And look, people can tell a genuine person with good intent usually from the bad actors out there.
So let's stick with that with follow-up on the bad actors. So I know you have many years of business development experience, among other experience in tech and business growing. And how can an actual expert like yourself or like some others, navigate in a world of the self-professed experts who don't really have any experience whatsoever?
I find it pretty easy. I mean, you can find someone, do a Google search on their name, and usually find some interesting results about their credibility, maybe their content, their mentions in the media, the news. You can look at them on multiple platforms. So I often see people on Twitter, and I'll go and I'll check them out on LinkedIn too and see their bio there. Maybe I'll check them out on Instagram or other platforms, Facebook. And you soon realize maybe they're not all that they make out to be. So I say it's we call it due diligence. You need to really do your due diligence when it comes to individuals. You can check references. You can often check reviews. You can do Google searches. And I think if you can ask for referrals, recommendations. If you do that, it's pretty hard to be scammed. I think the folks that are scam are generally folks who just click to buy without that kind of cursory background research.
Right. So in a world where, click to buy has been, the go-to thing for business, not just in crypto, but say you're buying an insurance product, say you're buying anything, you look for, click to buy real fast, real done. What are some of the ways that some of the things people need to look for in their purchases of products and services, including health? What do you think?
Yeah, I always look for trusted sources. So get to know someone. If I were going to buy a coin, for example, I might ask someone like you, for your opinion as a trusted source. Or if I have a family member who's a doctor, I might ask them about a particular healthcare offer or insurance offer. If I wanted to buy a new car off a lot, I'll go to a mechanic and ask him his opinion. And if someone has a question about a tech company or a startup they want to join, come to me, and I'll share my 2 cents. So look to a trusted advisor or an expert for their opinion before you jump in with anything in life.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. So I know you're looking at the startup space, and I know there's a lot of new options for money. One of them is crypto. There's other crowdfunding opportunities out there. How's the tech startups, navigation? How's that changed and how's it continue to change? And what should people who are looking to start that next venture be on the lookout for?
Well, we're in a boom time, whether people recognize it or not. And I know it sounds strange with COVID and the pandemic and all the disruption we've had, but man, at least in the tech startup world, particularly enterprise tech or B2B tech startups, I mean, there's never been more money flowing into companies and startups, and it's getting a little scary, I think, in terms of valuations, in terms of the kind of bubble we're seem to be getting into, in terms of the availability of money, both from the crypto world on to more traditional B2B startups. And so I would just be very careful at the moment. I mean, you don't want to buy at peak, whether it's buying a new house or putting money into a startup or, getting money, at this point. It's I think this is a difficult time, and we're seeing inflation on the rise. So I would make any financial moves right now with a great degree of caution, given where we are, the volatility in the world, the insanity of the stock market in which we live, and the growing emergence of this bubble. I'd kind of advise to just batten down the hatches. And if, look, you want to start a company, don't take money. Try to bootstrap. Try to do it the old-fashioned way. Try to find a few customers first, or find an angel investor or something versus the traditional VC route.
Because you mentioned it, and because we were both working in corporate America at the time, you said the word real estate. I know that's not your domain expertise here, but neither is mine. But how does this current market environment remind you of 2007 and 2008, or does it?
Well, I think it's better and worse. So it's better in that our financial institutions aren't in the same predicament they were in. I think so. If we have a housing crash or a bubble burst, it's not going to be a redo, with all those toxic assets. I mean, so, there is more regulation, there's compliance, there are other things that the government introduced that means that exact scenario likely won't happen again. But I think we are in a difficult time in terms of housing. I think there's no supply, right? I mean, you can't buy a house. I'm hearing of bidding wars, people offering many thousands, millions, even over asking price, which is when I heard $1 million over asking price for a house, I was amazed. But and so I'm very wary of this housing market. People like you and me probably have seen many boom and bust cycles, so we know a boom cycle when we're in it. And I also think we're seeing demographic shifts, right? I mean, the baby boomers are going to die and they're going to start selling their houses. And it doesn't seem obvious now, but in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years, we're going to have a glut of housing because when those boomers sell their homes, their kids are just going to sell them, right? They're not going to move into their parents' homes. So we could potentially see a lot more housing in the market in the next 10 years. So I'd say buy a home to live in, not as an investment vehicle at the moment, given the prices and the sky high inflation that's happening in housing.
That's a great point. Thank you. Yeah, I get concerned when I see people buying houses and not even visited them first. So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's wild.
So I wanted to thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it. I got some, really good advice here too for myself, even, how to navigate the waters. Thank you for, it's been a privilege. So my last question is this, how can people find out more information about you, about EvIRA Health, and then also about, Ralio?
Yeah, well, definitely follow me on Twitter at Evan Kirstel. It's EvanKirstel, and LinkedIn, the same, obviously my name, and connect, follow, and engage, and look forward to hearing from some of your listeners.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.